Welcome. Then it's another lovely day in the neighborhood, isn't it? Now I know quite a few young people, and mostly all of them are completely and hopelessly in debt. And of course, when we're all young men, sometimes we do get in debt, but not greatly, and we get out of it. But I don't see any hope for these young kids to get out of the amount of debt they're in. I mean, they're in big debts. And these people are still very young. So how is this happening to these young people? Well, they're being inundated by adverts everywhere, how they need all these new tech stuff, and how they need these new trainers that are only, say, £500. And that's probably just for one foot. You have to pay another $500 for the other one. But really, we're all living in a false economy, aren't we? I first started to notice it in the gaming industry. I was a very avid gamer, actually, many years ago, when games were actually real games, when you bought the game and you owned it. But I noticed the trend in the video game industry. Maybe it was in other industries as well, but I noticed it in the gaming industry first. And every year they come out with the same game, slightly different name, but it's actually the same game, just in a different package. They may tweak something here and there, but really it's the same game. And they resell it as a new game, full price. And the offenders mostly were EA, of course, Activision, and of course Ubisoft. And I was very much into Adobe products at that time as well. And then Adobe started doing the same, coming up with an updated version of one of their programs. But in actual fact, it was exactly the same program. They just tweaked something in it or added some little thing that really didn't work anyway and then resell it at full price. And of course it's caught on like wildfire because they don't have to do very much work and get the same amount of money in. Smartphones are now into that business. Make a new model every year. It's exactly the same phone, something slightly different, but they charge full price. And the advertisers are relentless on radio, TV, the internet. And it's all about you must have the updated version. You must have the newest version. Even though the older version does exactly what you want. So they're getting people to buy a new one when there's nothing wrong with the old one. And it's not even that old. But think how much money they're generating for themselves without actually having to do much of anything. And who's getting it in the ass? The consumers. Us older people can see the younger people are taken for suckers, can't we? They're just cash cows for the tech companies. It's almost as if the young people are brought up as professional consumers who are all obsessed in having the latest model, whether that be a phone or a car. And I'll tell you how bad it's got. I know somebody that was actually almost shunned from his friends because he didn't have the latest phone. So they considered him a lesser person for it. And if somebody out there can tell me the answer to this one, how can a pair of trainers cost £800? Even if I was a multi-millionaire, which I could be a secret one, I wouldn't pay £800 for a pair of goddamn shoes. And I don't know whether people think I've lost my sense of humor and become more miserable over time, but I'm laughing like hell inside, you know. And I may not have a great deal, but what I have, I own. Anyway, what I see is most of these young kids are never ever going to pay off the debt they owe, at least not in their lifetime. So somebody is gonna have to pay it. But thank God it ain't gonna be me. And if the planet lasts long enough, I can visualize people being born already in debt from their past family member. There is a saying, you can't get blood out of a stone, but they'll bloody well try, won't they? And I believe the latest iPhone 12 is over £1,000 to buy. Sure, it's a mini computer, but is it really worth £1,000? But you gotta have it. Thank God I'm old, because I don't need it. And nor does 95% of the young people either. And how much difference is it to the iPhone 11? or the iPhone 10, or the iPhone 9, if there was one. False economy at its best. It's a bit late for another beer for me, but I'm gonna head and have one anyway. Bottoms up, as they say.